But I gotta remember, when there's a big guy waiting outside in the parking lot, school grounds, it's hard to think beyond the afternoon. It's hard to think that the rest of my life, I might be remembering that I ran away or that I stood up. 100-year decision for sure. Now, I gotta say something here about this advisory or non-advisory, this ballot issue. To think that it was advisory only is ridiculous. There were advisory things going on since January, and when nothing was being listened to, then Mr. Page did follow through on what he proposed in March, and this is on a video, Dylan just put it online. Back in March at Bluffton School, he listed the 3 ways that this thing could be rezoned, and the third one was that people go ahead and put it on a ballot and do it. When the city council was not acting, Larry Page and the citizens and the residents decided to do something about it, and it was an overwhelming, just like it was with the senior transit. No, absolutely no doubt what the people directed the commissioners to do. Now, the idea too, that things can't be rezoned legally out from under somebody flies in the face of what just happened, I understand, with Every Woman's Place, which doesn't come in here as Melching's attorney donned in gold, you know. I mean, this is a nonprofit women's shelter, and so we can do that to them. I'm sure they're not gonna stand up to us. But I think this is disingenuous, and I have a hard time with that. Anyway, I have to admit, I didn't see a Live's article. I have a hard time letting all those pop-up advertisements load on my computer. I get too impatient for that. I'm sure that in time, though, the reporters will be wearing advertisements here at court, and they'll be driving advertisements around their cars, too, because that's where the money is. Anyway, let me say this here. Property taxes, I noticed, went down for sure, and so did the property value of Melching's property. I looked at the county site, and the property value dropped about 18%, which is significant. In that same time period, the property tax bill from the city dropped over 50%. And I wonder why the city would drop the bill so much. And I'll let you ask that some other time. Anyway, I'd like to also say that it's really kind of remarkable. You, all 7 of you, seem to act as though you personally are being sued. And you're not. I don't think any of your money is at stake. I sure hope it's not. Thank you.
I'm not going to address the Sappy issue at all. That would be inappropriate. But the issue of Every Women's Place has come up a time or two, and I think it's time that that be addressed in an open forum. And I'm not sure why anybody would equate the two. I was on the Planning Commission when this happened. The chair of the Planning Commission is here. He certainly can confirm it if he feels that I am misstating what happened. The property where Every Woman's Place is located has been zoned single-family residential for many years. When the Muskegon Catholic Central campus was built, that was built as a school building, as the dormitory for the nuns who were originally the teachers for the school. And that's why that building was able to be built in a single-family zone, because schools can build what they want, where they want, regardless of zoning. Well, the nunnery was shut down. They used secular teachers there for the most part now. And Every Woman's Place bought that building and moved their facilities in there quite a while ago. That did not change the underlying zoning. In fact, they made them a legal non-conforming use. They were not compelled upon the sale of that property to turn it into single-family residential. They were allowed to continue to use it for a similar purpose. And a few years ago, I'm believing that time flies when you get to be my age. I'm believing it's like 3-4 years ago now. Every Woman's Place was starting a large capital campaign to expand their facility, larger than what the ordinance allows for a legal non-conforming use. So they asked for their property to be rezoned from single-family residential to what's called RM2, which would allow for their expansion. They came to the Planning Commission and made that proposal. There was a lot of discussion because the members of the NIMS neighborhood who are directly impacted by that said, we're not comfortable with that zoning, but we're okay with Every Woman's Place. So we looked at some options to protect the neighborhood. The Planning Commission ultimately rezoned that property or recommended that property be rezoned, and the City Commission voted to rezone the property to RM2. The money apparently was not raised. because the building permits were never requested, and time went on, and it had been over a year. And so, and I was one who brought it up because of the concerns I was hearing from the neighborhood about the issue. I said, well, if they're not gonna do the project, there's a lot of things in the RM2 zone that nobody wants to see on that site. We should zone it back to what it was originally, which is single-family residential. So that process, just like the original process, involved notifying the public, notifying everybody who lives within 300 feet directly, notifying the neighborhood association, and so on. The representative from Everyone's Place showed up at that hearing and said, please don't rezone this, we're still working on this project. And after assuring that they were still working on raising the money to do the expansion on that site, the matter was tabled at the Planning Commission and the zoning was left at RM2. More time went by, and then the next thing that happens is they were donated an office building on Apple Avenue in downtown Muskegon, where many of the programs that were lacking space and would have required the expansion to accommodate were now moved into this new facility on Apple Avenue. At that point, it became apparent that they were no longer going to expand the current site. In fact, they couldn't do so because the expansion would cover where they put their solar array to reduce their utility expenses. So at that point, again, we went through the process because of the neighborhood, indicating that they were uncomfortable with the RM2 zone on that stretch. We did all the notifications that we do. We had the public hearing like we did the first two times, and this time, Everyone's Place was silent. They were contacted, just like every other responsible property owner. They had an appearance to respond in any way, by mail, by phone call, by appearance, and they did not respond. And their silence was taken as acceptance that it would revert back to the R1 zoning. And so the Planning Commission made that recommendation, and the City Commission acted on that recommendation to zone it back to single-family residential, which is what it had been for decades and decades. So that is a completely different type of situation than what is being described for the Sappy property. And I think it was important to get out in the open and clear the air what actually happened with Everyone's Place. The fact is they are and have been a legal non-conforming use in a single-family zone, and unless that use is abandoned legally under state law, it will continue to be allowed to use it for what they're using it for. So hopefully that clarifies any misunderstandings regarding that particular property and that particular zoning issue. Thank you for allowing me the time to explain that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And now, in lieu of Mr. Hood not being here,
The public comment's not over.
well, then step right out.
Nice, John.
Sean Davey, 4380 Happy Point Lane, Norton Shores.
I was laying out good series.
Okay,
Good, welcome to Muskegon.
well, I represent about 600 people in Muskegon, City, Muskegon, because there are about 10 of us who really worked on what's been happening with Sappy for the last year. And the people have voted due to us putting out information and helping them decide about this. Every precinct passed. And to me, you know, it's not so much about Sappy or Malching or senior transit. It's about not having the will of the people being heard. Now, it's hard enough to stomach DC and Lansing and all the crap, and I'm sorry for using that word, but I'm mad and I don't have my full mental capacity when I'm mad. So, you know, I just see our country is just being destroyed by greed. And it is corporation owners that now have control of all of our governing bodies, and including here in Muskegon. That's the way you lean. It was many, many months ago in the beginning of this, I said, similar to what Dylan said, similar to what Matt DePalma said, We need to work together. The places, the manufacturing towns that have been abandoned by the manufacturers and that are crumbling, the ones that are thriving, are going to their citizens and working together with them to come up with brilliant and creative and out-of-the-box solutions that keep them thriving. It's happening. Look it up. Google it. And I want that to happen to Muskegon because I know we have it in us. I know we have vast creativity and brilliance in this community. And we have people that now are wanting to be engaged. More and more people are wanting to be engaged. The more rights that you take away, the more you don't listen to our voices, the more people are going to be coming engaged. And we haven't gone away. It's been a year we've been coming here and visiting you. And even though I don't live in Muskegon, I care about Muskegon Lake. Muskegon Lake is our lake. It belongs to everyone in this county. And, you know, I commend Commissioner Turnquist for wanting to do the right thing. You know, at a certain point, we have to go with the humans and the heart. We have to, because we are here together, and this country is going to crumble, and we are going to have to rely on each other. So let's make us resilient. Let's work together. And I've asked you for this over and over and over, and you've resisted. And this is why it's come to where it is. It is, you say, you've been forced. You have forced it upon yourself, this lawsuit. Larry Page warned you for many, many months, please, let's do something about this before. He didn't file it in the July, for the July election. He waited till November. He gave you more time. We've come and come and come. So now it's a lawsuit. I don't know what to do, but I just know that the will of the people has been said. And if we can write a ballot, if he can write a ballot proposal that's understandable, why can't our city staff have written a ballot proposal that was clear to the people?
Exactly.
You must fund that until you have another election, and it is clear. That's what I would do as an honorable person. You know, I don't want to come and beg anymore. I don't want to come and ask and tell you creative solutions and have people on M Live say, you don't have any solution, you just complain. Well, we've given solutions every time we've come here, one of us or many of us. And, you know, I feel that if the right thing isn't done, and it's not being done, that I'm going to work to try to find good candidates for Muskegon, and I'm going to work to get them voted in. And I may even work to get people recalled, because I feel they're not listening. I feel they're not listening to the vote of the people, and not just the vote. Continuously throughout this whole year-long process, you have chosen the other side. You have chosen things that are not even going to give us benefit. I mean, if Melching does a scrapyard there, it's not going to really benefit this city. It's going to bring us down a road, the same stuff that we've been dealing with forever. It's going to, I don't know.
With the Cross Lake Ferry parking right behind it. Woo-wee.
Anyway, I do appreciate your service, but I really want you to, we can do this. We can do this together. Stop shutting us out. Have a good evening.
I'll take one more.
David Nye, 1495 Westwood Circle, Norton Shores. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have been trying to read up a little bit on the legal situation here. I can recommend an article in the Michigan State Law Review titled Michigan's Judicial Two-Step. And if you go down to it's from 2009. Footnote 54 would state that Michigan's right to zoning referendum applies only to townships and counties. Citizens and villages may grant such a right by charter, but statute grants only a protest mechanism that, once initiated, requires a 2/3 or 3/4 vote of the legislative body to pass. So, in light of the Melching Inc.'s Quo Warranto suit against you, well, if that is accurate, I'm not sure what leg that you would honestly have to stand on, and therefore, whatever you do with this, I can't tell you what to do. Personally, you have my blessing to deal with this particular lawsuit in any matter that you deem best. However, what has been done by this entire process is that the public will for rezoning this property has been indelibly placed upon the permanent public record. It's really not debatable once you have every single precinct in the city voting overwhelmingly for rezoning. So once this lawsuit is in fact out of the way, it becomes incumbent upon you to address that in some fashion or another. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nye.
Sir, may I have just 15 seconds, please?
You can have my 3 minutes.
One more.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a web address if anyone's interested in the
Can I have your
toxins.
name and address before you begin?
Okay, my name is Joseph Hawk. I live right across the pond at 118 Ruddiman Drive, North Muskegon, 49445.
Thank you.
I have a web address that anyone could go to if they want to know the toxins that are located at the Sappy Pine. I had a little powwow with the EPA and DEQ. And if you go to occupymuskegon.net/OM News, all of that information up to hand will be there. What happened was when SD Warren and then Sappy Pine got way little out of hand on the toxicity of their soil, and they're almost at lake level anyhow. All correspondence with the DEQ and EPA was cut off. So our good attorney here, he should have a lot of help with both the DEQ and EPA. And he's got a majority of people of the city of Muskegon who are willing to see him through it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Well, seeing as how you're raising your hands so nicely, please come on out now. This will be the last one.
I'll try and be fast.
Okay.
I'm Jean Nelson. I live at 2218 Harrison, right up the hill from the mill. And for 3 weeks, and maybe a little more, there's been stoppage on any work at all down there. It's all the same. We look at it every day, and I want to know why. Right now, there's a class action lawsuit against Sappy for asbestos. Well, the piles are laying there. They're not taking them out by truck, you know, and I just would like to know why that's being allowed. It's a blight. There's a building half torn down with the, you know, because you go by it every day. Come down Lincoln, and I know people that quit coming down Lincoln because it's so disgusting. And it just sits there. They're not doing a thing with it. So I wondered if you could maybe find out why. You know, it's a big blight right now, and I don't think the city allows that.
Right at this point, because it's the Sappy property with the litigation.
I know, but this was way before the
I
litigation
understand,
even
but
come out.
that silences everything at this point.
You know, there's blight there. So if you can't do anything, who can, you know?
Any way the wind blows.
As soon as we can get through.
It all blows on us and our little kids that play. We have Bunker School right there. You know, it's an elementary school. That wind blows, it blows all of those toxins right into this play yard.
At this juncture, I can't answer any of those questions.
I know you can't, but I wanted you to be aware of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And email me anytime, Jim. In lieu of Commissioner Hood's absence, would either one of you like to move for adjournment?
Well, Commissioner Carter used to say, "See no further public comment, I move to adjourn."
All in favor? Have a good evening, folks.
Happy holidays.